Hi, let us look at S3 versioning. Okay, now this one is a very important topic that we should be focusing on. So usually with your Windows Explorer, if you see, you get this kind of setup and you have a lot of files, but you cannot do a version controlling of the files that you have. Okay, but in AWS, you have a feature called versioning, which will help you to recover from unintended user actions and application failures. These are the application failures which you can recover from these scenarios. What does this mean is, if you see Mr. Beans, he is a very suspicious character because he kind of does all the things in a messy way. So what if he deletes your object from S3? What happens then? So that is your unintended user action. You don't have to worry about that with S3 versioning. You can easily preserve and retrieve, and you can restore every version of the object that is stored on your S3. Now we are clear with this, but what happens if someone overrides, like they literally go there and overwrite your file which was version control enabled, but they overwrite it? What will happen? Think about it. What will happen? Will the file get overwritten and all previous changes will be lost? Are we now sad that the previous versions are kind of gone? These changes are gone. Is that so? Let's see. So your previous versions, they are all intact. The new overwritten version, this comes as a new version. So you don't have to worry. All the versions are intact. All are set. Okay. They are totally present for you. So this should calm you. Okay. So this is something which will relax you. But hey, you know what happens if someone accidentally deletes a version control object? What happens? Let's think about it. Let's think about it. What happens? So, are the previous versions gone? Are they gone? We have to think about it. So, when you do deletes, these are not permanent deletes. Okay, these are marked as delete, like mark for delete. That means there are delete markers which are put, but they are not removed. So that way, you don't have to worry about accidental deletes. So again, you can take a chill pill, relax, because your data is safe, because you can always restore the previous version. Hey, did you subscribe to this channel yet? If not, please do it. And if you like this video, please hit the like button. The topics I'm explaining will help you with all of these certifications. Okay. Now, if versioning is so useful, so is it enabled by default? This is the question that we should ask ourselves. Is it enabled by default? And very important, all of these questions that I'm asking, it will help you think the answer in a real certification question. You will get these scenarios. Okay, I promise you, you will get such scenarios. So this one is not enabled by default and you have to explicitly enable it. If versioning is so useful, why it is not enabled by default? It is all about price. Your father is not going to pay the bills anymore. So it's all about price, and you have to manage that price. Why? Because each version is charged differently. Hey, so let me ask you a wonderful question. If you have three versions of an object, will you be charged for each object? Think about it. Think about it. Yes, you would be charged for three objects, all three objects separately. Each object will be charged. Each version will be charged. So if there are three versions, then you will be charged for three three times. Hey, if that is the case, how can we save the costs? Think about it. Mm, let us think about it. Have you heard about life cycle? You will have to use life cycle. You will have to move the previous versions into the cheaper storage classes like Glacier or so on. So you can set the non-current expiration life cycle. Non-current means, see, there is only one version which is current. That is your current object, current version. All others are non-current. So you can set a life cycle policy on non-current versions. Now let us think about permissions. Okay. So if you have permissions to an object, then by default, will you have permissions on all the versions, all the versions of that object? Logically, you might think yes. If I have permissions to that object, then I can have permission to all the versions of that object. There might be 30 or 40 versions. I can have permission to all the objects logically, but that is not the answer. Permissions are set at version level. Okay, because there might be some new additions which others are not supposed to access. So it is set at version level, and each version has its own owner. That is important. So if there are version 1, 2, and 3, okay, so the permission for each one of those would be different. Okay, so that is the key. Now, few tidbits. You must specify the version ID of the object when you are doing a put, so that it goes to the latest version of the object gets updated. That is one. And so this brings to the end of the quick tidbit on S3 versioning. You can hit the subscribe button, and if you like my video, please hit the like button. See you in the next part.